Hi, today we're going to continue a tradition of looking at the photo industry, and actually quite a few things happened in 2018. So let's take a look. This will be our 6th year where we have been monitoring the photography industry here on LensVid, and after a year of big changes in 2018, where two of the major players introduced new full-frame mirrorless models, it will be extremely interesting to see how much this actually affected the market as a whole. As we have done each time before, we have updated our camera industry infographics to include the information CIPA, the Camera and Image Product Association, recently published about the camera industry in 2018. We shall start with the amount of cameras of all types produced worldwide. 2010 was the top year ever for the camera industry, with 121 million cameras that were produced. Since then, we have seen a steady decline, with a huge drop in 2013 to only 61 million cameras, basically half, and in 2015 we saw another almost halving to only 35 million cameras, followed by another huge drop to only 23 million cameras, 35% decrease in 2016. 2017 was the first year since 2010 where we saw an increase in the number of cameras produced to 25 million units, just over 8% increase, but this might have been just a temporary thing, as the numbers from 2018 show another big drop to only 19 million cameras, the lowest number since 2001. When comparing the number of non-interchangeable cameras or compact cameras with that of interchangeable cameras of both DSLRs and mirrorless cameras together, we see that for the first time ever, more interchangeable lens cameras are being sold worldwide than non-interchangeable cameras. This signifies a true shift in the industry, one which is clearly the result of the smartphone camera market being as strong as it is. When looking at the interchangeable lens camera market, we see the continuation of a trend. DSLR sales are shrinking, in 2018 by about 12%, while mirrorless sales are growing, but very slowly, or about 2% more than 2017. Looking at the bigger picture, we can see that compact cameras went down to under 50% of the total digital camera market for the first time ever. DSLRs gained about 4%, and the mirrorless share of the market increased by 6%. As for lenses, the market shrank in 2018 by 7% to just under 18 million units. Looking at the data by region, it seems that the camera market in Asia shrank the most in 2018 by as much as 27% compared to 2017, while the market in the Americas only suffered a 16% drop at that time. Interestingly, the lens market in the Americas actually grew by about 1%, while almost anywhere else in the world, sales dropped by anywhere from 6 to 11%. In 2016, we predicted that it is likely that in 2017 we will see a global camera market go below 20 million units. Well, you were wrong, but only by 1 year. Despite what the major manufacturers were hoping, the release of new full-frame mirrorless models by Canon and Nikon did not affect sales in a meaningful enough way. To be fair, these models were released late in the year, and mirrorless camera sales in the last 3 months of 2018 did increase slightly compared to 2017 by about 2 or 3%, and as more advanced models will be released during 2019, we might see an even bigger increase in the sales of mirrorless cameras. However, the sheer number of cameras and lenses sold does not tell us the full story. We also need to talk about how much money we spent on cameras and lenses in 2018. This is actually the first time that we have been looking at this piece of information, which is also part of the data CIPA collects, and what we have found is pretty interesting. In 2018, the number of cameras sold went down, as we have mentioned, by about 24% compared to the previous year. However, the amount of money spent worldwide on these far fewer cameras only went down by about 4.5% compared to 2017. And even more interestingly, while in 2018 we purchased almost 7% less lenses than the year before, we actually spent 5% more money on buying those lenses. The bottom line here is simple. If this trend continues, the photography market will become increasingly smaller and ever more expensive. Think about this as a vicious circle. Manufacturers need more money to develop more advanced technologies, but since sales continue to shrink, they are forced to raise prices, which in turn make it it harder for people to buy new gear, making the market even smaller, and so on and so forth. When will this cycle end? Well, possibly only when the market stabilizes in terms of yearly sales, but at under 20 million cameras sold per year, this just might not be economical for some of the manufacturers to sustain with ever-increasing R&D costs. Finally, as always, if you have a different perspective on the data that we have presented here or what might happen to the photography industry in the next few years, let us know in the comments. So that was our look at the photo industry in 2018. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. See you in the next video.